All right, Josh, would you like to kick off the oh, I guess I kick it off and then hand it to you. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine either way.
My name is Allison Kulo. I am the Executive Director of the Association of Language Companies, and I welcome you all to join us today for the new member cohort meeting. Some of you, this is your first new member cohort meeting. Some of you, this may be your fourth. So we try to walk you through all aspects of ALC, and today is ALC Bridge. Before we get going, I just want to go through a couple of specifics, and that is acknowledging our sponsors. We have quite a few annual sponsors, and Language Line Solutions is our diamond sponsor. We also are sponsored by the following organizations as platinum sponsors for this year, our gold sponsor, and then as well as our silver sponsor and our bronze sponsor. The ALC does have an antitrust policy. We want to make sure that everyone is aware of this. If ever you've got questions, please reach out to me or to Mariana. We're happy to provide further information or clarification. We do have another upcoming event on our calendar. On November 12th, there'll be an M&A lab providing the seller's perspective, and that's a virtual panel, and that can be found on the ALC events calendar. We are adding a holiday cheer networking event in December, and so we'll be sending out an email, and we're just nailing down that date and time, but we'll be having that come forth quickly. As many of you have probably heard, our unconference is coming up in February of 2025 in St. Pete Beach. Yes, they were recently hit twice by hurricanes. We've been in contact with the hotel, and they are pursuing cleanup efforts, and we are continuing to just kind of stay on top of what's going on there. But either way, we'll be hosting a great event for you to have small conversations with other CEOs and C-suite executives of language service companies. Our annual summit is next September, the 10th through the 12th in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we have multiple volunteer opportunities. And one of those opportunities is to participate on the membership committee. And the chair of the membership committee is Josh Panisse. I'm going to hand it over to Josh to take it from here.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I'm pretty sure there's no one on the call that's staff, but we do have an interpreter available but I'm pretty sure nobody is. Okay, so I'm Josh Panisse. I'm CEO of TCS Interpreting based in the Washington, D.C. area, also vice president of the ALC and chair of the membership committee. And so in my capacity as membership committee, I get to chair today's meeting with all of you. Purpose of this new member cohort series, and this is number 4 in a series of 4 quarterly meetings, is to orient you to all of the many benefits that you get by virtue of your ALC membership dollar, and to help make sure that you have a plan to capitalize on the ROI that's available to you. You may have seen at the industry survey results and presentations that have been done with Slater recently and at our summit that showed that there's a measurable difference in performance of ALC member companies in terms of revenue growth and EBITDA compared to non-ALC member companies. But just paying the dues doesn't do anything for you, right? You need to be able to participate. You need to know how to access these tools that really can help supercharge your business. That's the purpose of this series of 4 meetings. Today's meeting is about 3 things. First, ALC Bridge. Second, we'll talk about the different ALC committees that we currently have, what they do, and how you can possibly be involved in them. And third, Allison will run down the partner association benefits that we have. You get other benefits with sister organizations by virtue of your ALC membership. We'll talk about what those are as well. So to start, the bulk of our time, we'll be talking about the amazing ALC Bridge program that's run by and shepherded by Kathleen Diamond. So I will turn it over to you, Kathleen, and to Steve to give us an overview. And please, folks, any questions you have as we go along, I don't think any of us mind an interruption to clarify or discuss. This is more of an informal meeting meant to help you get your ROI again. So be sure to ask any questions that you have. So without further ado, Kathleen.
Well, thank you, Josh, and thank you. Welcome, welcome, new members. It's just so fantastically terrific for me to look at the screen, and I mean, I see a couple familiar faces and names, but many of you I haven't seen before, and that makes me feel great because that means you haven't seen me before either. So I get a chance to just absolutely be me. And who I am is Kathleen Diamond. I founded a company way back in the 19th century, 20th century, not 19th century, 20th century, and built it into a sizable language company, joined ALC at the beginning, and have been active in this incredible association ever since. And I've served in different capacities, but I'm quite happy in this new task, I should say, that's been placed upon my shoulders, and that is the chair of ALC Bridge. It's an initiative that came out of a meeting in Sonoma, California, an unconference, of course, small group of us getting together and talking as we always do. And it was a small breakout room, maybe about 5, 6 people, representing, you know, our membership from large companies to small to medium companies. And people were saying, oh, geez, my real problem is I can't get the linguists and the global talent that I need to work for my company. And so I'm listening and I'm thinking, I'm hearing something here. And it sounds to me like there would be a solution that if what we're looking for as employers is people that can come to work with us with some kind of experience and training and understanding of what it is that we do in our language companies, it might be a good idea to sort of talk to the academic world and see what the language departments are doing these days in terms of preparing, you know, possible talent for us. So I mentioned that, and of course, you know, sometimes you mention things at ALC. Next thing you know, it's tag you're it. And that's what happened to me. So I went home from that unconference and got to thinking and came up with the concept of let's bridge. Let's take ALC employers and put them face to face with educators and more precisely students. And this all began back in, well, actually 2017, 2018. We worked very hard to create the website. It's its own URL, alcbridge.org, and it's a live platform that is for us, in particular the employers, to use as a job board. So we launched officially in 2019, and since then have been unbelievably successful in connecting with academic partners. And I don't know whether we have time during this meeting, Allison, but we invite you, each and every one of you, to please go to the website and spend some time with it. I think you'll be quite tickled and quite surprised at the work that we as volunteers have been able to do in this short period of time. There is a section in the ALC Bridge website that is a separate piece, which is called the job board. And it's in place for you to go and post your offerings, your internships, what you're looking for. And then the students can come in and just negotiate with you one-on-one. What we've been doing most actively this fall is we, as ALC members, we go on campus. And we've been on campus this year with, I mean, faithfuls like Rutgers Newark, University of Florida, NYU, Weber State, and more are being booked. Our first international one is being booked. We're going to be going to Indonesia, the University of Indonesia, in November. And what we do is I have the pleasure of picking from what we call the ALC Bridge Speakers Corps. We invite you to, of course, join that as well with us. And then we put together a webinar. And you'll be able to go on the ALC Bridge website, pull down past events, and I think you'll just be bowled over, frankly, at the work that this volunteer group called ALC Bridge has done to make it possible for you, employers, to find the best talent for future employment. So is that enough, Josh? Do you want, or do you want more, less? Can't do less. I've already spoken. What would you like?
Say less, Kathleen, say less. No, I think it'd be great if we could show the job board, and if folks have questions, we can talk through it.
Yes, I think that would be the best thing to do. And then I think, Josh, let's hear from our new members questions. I've given you kind of this is the kind of the origin story, but now we want you to participate with you since we've built it for you. Simply said.
Right. I am just having my screen refresh so that I can start off at ALC Bridge. There we go. So as Kathleen mentioned, and I put in the chat the separate links, but both can be found through alcbridge.org. And it's a separate website for ALC Bridge. And as Kathleen explained, you know, she no longer wants to hear about people falling into the language industry. She wants to have people who, you know, see it as a strong path to a career. And so I think that is a good way to have it kind of provide a little bit more understanding of what this is. So ALC Bridge, this is the primary area.
Allison, we just see the Zoom website.
That is the Zoom website. Intriguing.
I have nothing to do with that. I assure you, new members.
Let's try this. How about this? Better?
It's important that
There
you
you go.
understand why we keep emphasizing that it's a separate website. It's because it's open to academics and it's open to students. In other words, you don't have to be a member of ALC to come to ALC Bridge. We're bridging.
And so, you know, this is a primary place where it's promoted as far as information on the language industry. As Kathleen mentioned, there's a job board, which can be selected right here. And again, this is, again, both for those seeking jobs and then for those looking to post. One thing that we're working to do is not have this just be for entry-level jobs, but this to be all jobs within the language industry. So at this point, I think some of our featured jobs that you're seeing here are some work at home positions through Language Line Solutions. But we've had in the past, you know, people from marketing departments, internships is a big area that we're promoting people to be able to put in information, project managers, sales people, all those types of positions to be promoted here. And there is no cost to participate and to be able to post your jobs. We are continuing pushes every so often to be able to get people to post their jobs. You'll be seeing some information come through within the next 2 weeks about this as well in your email boxes. One thing I think as well that I wanted to show, and I'm just trying to see if I had it pulled up or not. Yep. Except that page is going to not respond for the second.
I think you can, Allison, it would be wonderful to show them past events, because that really gives everybody the idea of the work that we are actively doing to bridge with our academic partners. Look at this. So
Yeah.
this just absolutely makes me, I mean, just amazed. And these are the speakers all come from, you know, they're us. And we go to campus via Zoom and we tell them about the jobs that we have. We tell them about the stories that what our life has been in the language services industry. And the kids, I mean, yesterday's meeting, we had 34 attendees, 34 young students listening to the future that we're offering to them. So it's terribly important that you guys know about this feature, this benefit of membership, and that you use this website as your very own.
I've noticed Dottie's hand is up. Let me take a quick pause. And Dottie, do you want to ask your question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Dottie Lee. I am founder and CEO of Trans-Pacific Communications right there.
Wonderful.
And we are primarily in the federal space. We do a lot of work. One of our 3 pillars is translation and interpretation. And we talked, I love the fact that you have this Bridge website where you provide jobs and career opportunities. And just quickly, I started out way back when I was in my home country in college. I translated a painting album, and that was many decades ago, without giving away too much of my age. And so I was a broadcaster of Voice of America, just to follow a childhood dream to become a VOA broadcaster. Of course, I had to translate news and all that on the job, whether it's live or taped and or have you. But if just a full circle moment, one of our translated products for the State Department was yet another painting album, or just a art catalog, I should say, for our embassies overseas. One of them was our embassy in Beijing. I went to Beijing to visit last year and saw our amazing catalog. I'm going to pull it out to show you, sitting right in front of the ambassador's office, not to mention the amazing art in front of us that we translated, but I didn't get to see until I showed up in the embassy. But anyway, I also happen to be the voice and voice coach of Rosetta Stone's Mandarin products. So I do have a long history in the language world, but just so happy to be connected to join ALC. I'm happy to have someone explain how to work the Bridge site, because oftentimes we need linguists, translators, and interpreters. I had no idea. I joined for about a month or so, partially just because I'm so busy. I have no idea. I had no idea that I could go on to this website to find potential translators. I actually need someone very soon, 5 different languages. And I was like, where do I get them? Besides the ones I already have, I just need someone to fill another shift. So if someone could give us sort of like a tutorial without me having to go back and to study, oh, what's what? And I may miss something without even knowing that you actively reach out to colleges and college kids and to build our pipeline, which is critical because we're all getting up there. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I have been looking forward to this.
Well, thank you, Dottie. And what I'd like to say is, after, if I can take your email connection, I'll be in direct, contact with you to follow up. But before we continue with the rest of our presentation, I just want to, this industry is such an amazingly wonderful industry in terms of connections. So my company back in the day also was Language Learning Enterprises, and the Voice of America was one of our early clients. So I feel connected with you there. And of course, Rosetta, we used to go to the ILR meetings, and people from the Rosetta would be there. So well connected, and welcome to ALC. And I'll connect with you personally afterwards.
Thank you, Kathleen.
One thing I'll share, and I'll put it in the chat as well, but I'll go back to hopefully sharing the correct screen. And there's a flyer that we've put together that has been distributed during the presentations, but the piece that Kathleen, I maybe have you,
yes,
and I'll zoom in a little bit more, and of course attach this too. But Kathleen, maybe just talk a little bit about where this came from.
Sure. So this is a very, I'm trying to sort of condense this history that has been pretty intense, even though it hasn't been very many years, where we have grown. We've made such progress with the academic partners. It's interesting. It used to be that we would come into the classroom and we'd say, has anybody ever heard of the language services industry? And, there was silence. Now they've heard of the language service industry. So now what the academic partners want us to do is come in and talk to us about localization, come in and talk to us about interpreting in healthcare, come in and talk to us about translation internship. So they've gotten specific because they've seen all of the information that we've given them. This graphic is the creation of one of the ALC Bridge committee members. You will see all of us on the website when you go. His name is Adam Wooten, and he's with Middlebury. He is just a brilliant individual and also an artist. And we were using Winnie Hayes' graphic a long time ago with the lily ponds, showing the terrific progress of activity that can take place once you come to work in a language company. And Adam took it and said, let's go higher, literally. He's a hiker, I am too. And he created this graphic. Can you scroll down just a little bit, Allison, to show the bottom? So basically what he's saying is that you can come in when you're talking to students, potential future workers, you can say, come into our industry. You might come in as a translator, you might come in as an interpreter, or you might come in as, something completely different, but you don't need to stay there. You can move as you yourself grow and move. And most important thing that this graphic shows is you don't have to be necessarily fluent in another language with skills in translation and interpretation, because we need everybody. We need subtitlers, we need artists, we need engineers, we need terminologists, we need managers.
Kathleen, I apologize. I don't mean to interrupt, but we do have the need for the ASL interpreter on the call, and I'm just trying to.
Yes, thank you.
See if he's.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Kathleen, you can continue.
Yeah, so you can scroll back up to the top, and I don't need to talk too much more. This is just an illustration that we share with the students in the classroom, and it just opens up their thinking. The academic partners, as you can imagine, they are suffering with language departments being closed down across the country from, K to 20. So they see this as being such opportunities for them to take to their deans, keep the department open, let the kids have different exposure to language. There are jobs for them. So I think I'll take questions if need, but I think that's what you needed from this graphic, Allison. And this is a PDF, by the way. You saw the first page actually has a QR code, and I would like it if all members had this particular document that they can send to prospective clients or whoever they're talking to about ALC Bridge.
And I did put it in the chat, that the PDF.
Perfect. It's our first QR code document. I'm very
Can we also pull back up the website, Allison, for the resources section?
And while we're doing that, I just want to make sure I recognize Steve Lank. He has joined us this morning, and he is a founding member of the ALC Bridge Committee and an absolute stellar active member of the ALC Bridge Speakers Corps. And Steve, maybe you'll take a minute and just sort of say to the group what your experience has been being on campus via Zoom.
Yeah, like I've been working in language services for a very long time, since 1987, and I've always been very, very interested in the training aspect and ensuring that folks are trained. So that this is a great opportunity for me to get involved with ALC Bridge, because it's sort of advocating exactly what I've always felt was necessary, and what sort of our obligations as professionals here is just to make sure that the new generation of talent that's coming in to the industry have the skills and the training that they need to thrive. So it's been terrific. In addition to doing this, I also teach myself. I mean, I have taught at the University of Maryland in their master's program of translation and interpreting. So this has been a great boost to that as well, and it keeps me in the classroom. The opportunities to sort of speak to the students. I mean, I love that aspect of it. That's why I love teaching, because, for those of us who've been working in this industry for a very, very long time, there are days where you're like, oh, why am I doing this still? Or it's the same thing all day, every day, just like anything. It's not this industry, but it's like any job that you've been in for a long time. And just the enthusiasm that these students have for this information that we're giving to them is wonderful for me and eye-opening for them. So it really works both ways. And I sort of follow Kathleen wherever she takes me, because I find it hard to say no to Kathleen. Anybody who works with her will have the same issue. She always takes me in the right direction, though, so I'm very happy with that. But because of what I've been doing with Bridge, I've been able to sort of build on some things that I've been working in my own company as well. And one of the things that we advocate strongly for in the Bridge, in which I've always advocated strongly for, is to provide internships. But there became a point where I finally said, look, I need to put my money where my mouth is, because I'm a small company, like a lot of the companies in the ALC membership, who struggle to figure out how they can do it, right? And so, they always say, like, when you work with your children, they say, model the behavior you want to see. So I was trying to model that behavior and started a program myself at my company for internships. I partnered with a local university that had been there, that I had a relationship with before ALC Bridge, but ALC Bridge kind of gave me the impetus to finally, like, just take the leap and do it. We started an internship program with them, with this local university in Denver in 2022, maybe 2023, end of 2022. And since then, we've had 9 interns. It's worked out tremendously well. And so we have this sort of pipeline of interns that come through this university. So every semester we take at least one. Oftentimes we take 2 at a time. And it's worked out tremendously well. I mean, what I always tell people is, if people are always sort of worried about, oh, what do I do and how do I create a program? And to me, it was like, just take the leap and figure it out. Like, just do it and see. My one rule with my staff was that any work that we're giving to the interns, I don't want seat work. I don't want to create extra work for my staff or extra work for them for their training purposes, but I want it to be something that's contributing to what the company's goals are. So it's worked out tremendously well. We started out with a specific project for one of our interns who helped us get through some data management that we needed to see and that we needed to get done. And we sort of built on that as the staff began to see that it wasn't a time drag, right? They were training up people who were helping them to do the work that ultimately were going to stay in the community, who could ultimately become employees, right? So not everybody will come and stay, but we have had, as I said, we've had 9 come through. I currently have 2 at the moment, and we've hired 2 of the 9 have permanent positions with my company at the moment, and 1 we're planning to offer a position to at the end of her internship at the end of the semester. So great opportunity. I encourage everyone to consider internships in their companies. And the best way to start, I think, my experience, is to try to find somebody local that you can partner with, a local university, and sort of just start feeling that out to see how that will work for you. Because to me, it's been terrific. It's been just a great way to sort of be involved in the community and help the students and train the students, but also to get the help we need internally to sort of keep moving the ball forward at my company. And I have to say that for as long as I've been talking to people about the importance of this, and I've been teaching about the importance of training, it took me a while to sort of get my act together and start offering the program. Just decided to do it, and the impetus for that was Bridge. So I encourage you all to get involved.
Thank you, Steve. And we,
So that's a great segue, Kathleen, while we're just talking about internship.
Yes,
Allison,
yep.
could you click on the resources for employers
Yep.
button? And there is a fantastic internship in a box.
Yep.
If you click that button, there you go. Kathleen, do you want to add some color?
I'm not going to say too much. I just think it's just absolutely awesome. And here we had the brilliant leadership of Scott Bass. I mean, this is his baby. And I mean, there's your tutorial if you're looking to figure out how to do this. But some of it is just, it's organic. You feel it, you do it, you know, kind of thing. But here it is, internship in a box. One of your membership benefits.
Great. And thank you. Allison, would you go back a couple of pages to the main resource page again? And then if you look at resource for job seekers, another thing to point out there, you'll see the graphic that's featured on the other
Oh, wonderful.
handout. And if you keep
Thank
going
you.
down, there's great information for people. I don't know about you guys, but I get emails fairly frequently saying, oh, how do I become an interpreter? And boy, isn't that a complicated question to answer. This is a great link to be able to send people to say, there's information on here. If you go down, Allison, for example, there is a link to all of the known programs and available programs. So if you click there, you get a spreadsheet of the various translation and interpreting degree programs in the US. So there's a wealth of research on here for yourself as a business owner or operator, and for you to be able to use with encouraging people to join us in our party in the language industry.
Thank you, Josh, for that wonderful commercial. Stephen and I are going to be joined by Bill Rivers at ATA, and we're doing our presentation as a deep dive into ALC Bridge. So I've been joking about my fins and my goggles, and he thinks I'm joking, but I actually, you know, I am a snorkeler, so, you know, look out. But what we're going to do is we're going to do just what you just did, Josh, and it's very effective. We're going to take people to specific, you know, pages on the website. And I think that speaks louder than anything Steve and I and Bill can yammer on about. So that's our plan for November the 2nd in Portland, Oregon. We'll be there.
Great. Are there other questions for Kathleen or Steve?
You know, I see my beloved president has joined us. So I'd like to recognize her. Karen,
I've been
thank you.
here the whole time.
Thank you for all the support that you give us. And you have also, Karen is also a member of the ALC Speakers Corps. I haven't called on her recently, but that doesn't mean that I don't think about her every time I have a gig coming up.
Well, it's interesting, Kathleen, because I will be on a panel at AT as well. Mine will be on Halloween. It's the panel of the leadership of the various associations. And I've been assigned a question, which is an interesting one. And the question was with respect to my involvement. For those of you that don't know, I have a language school, so we do language training. And we have some other folks like Julia who does language training as well on this call. The question that she posed to me was, you know, how can we save the foreign language programs in the United States? You know, what's going on and what can we do about it? And I plan on mentioning Bridge. So that'll be a nice segue into your presentation on Saturday. I mean, I can't save the high school situation, and that's what she was focusing on.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is the interest in foreign language, whether it's interpreting, translation, or language training, has increased tremendously over the last 20 years. I see that in our adult population that come to us. But it's like, why didn't we start that out a long time ago? And university programs, as you mentioned, are closing. And if Bridge is a way to keep those open,
Yes.
I'll talk to you on the side because I want to
Yes.
get some
Yes.
points for me to mention
Yes.
in this. So anyways, I feel like ALC is contributing to that tremendously.
No question.
Bridging that gap.
No
I mean,
question.
the lack of skills that we are not offering our kids, our children in the school system, and even at this point in the university system, which is ridiculous. We have had students come to us, I'll give you specifically from the University of West Virginia, that shut down their Russian program, but included it as a requirement language for their degree, even though they shut down programs. So people have come to us for, how can you help me out? Anyways, long story, but I'm your biggest fan and friend.
Well, I'm going to give you material, and so we'll do this offline. But on the ALC Bridge site, there are 2 webinars that we did specifically to school districts, high school districts, because we have Caitlin Walsh on our committee, and
Right.
that's her direction. So we're looking at it literally through anybody, basically the school system.
We got to penetrate down into that level for sure.
Exactly. And the thing that's so interesting about the progress we've made for our new members is that in the beginning, we really were, this is the industry. And now what they're doing is so the academics were just listening to us. Now what they're doing is they are tweaking their courses. I mean, we're influencing the way that they're presenting their courses and what they're offering to these students in order to stay alive, because they see then the students, they do their ROI, they say, oh, we can get jobs with this.
That's it. Yeah.
So it's really at a very cool place in terms of making it.
It is. It's exciting.
Great. Thank you, Madam President. Looks like Dottie has another question. And if anybody else has a question, you can throw your hand up as well, and then we'll move to the next segment.
I just wanted to jump in on the language teaching and instruction. A few years ago, when my son was in middle school and high school, the school he was in taught Chinese, among other languages. Of course, being the voice of Rosetta Stone, I had the selfish reason that my kid will learn Mandarin in school, Chinese in school. And so he continued until the school all of a sudden just yanked that program without any explanation. And then, of course, he had to have language credit upon graduation. So where would he get the credit? He couldn't drop that off and almost at graduation to take on Spanish, which would not be a feasible solution. So I had to scramble to get him enrolled in a dual degree program at a community college. Fortunately, the community college was nearby. Fortunately, the community college offered Chinese, so he was able to sort of be a dual enrolled student, a high school kid and a community college kid. Only then he was able to finish his required foreign language credit, which was just a nightmare for, if we hadn't had this community college, if I hadn't had the resources that I do to get him plugged into something, I can't imagine what other parents would do.
Yeah.
Just my getting something off my chest.
Well, thank you, Dottie. Thank you. And I can say it very comfortably. ALC Bridge is not just talking about the problem. We are offering solutions. And that's why I think it's so powerful right now.
Well, one more thing. What you're doing is if you're enlightening and educating the universities and the students, as you said, you don't have to be fluent in a language to get a job in the language services industry. But the reason why some of these programs are shutting down is because everybody's pushing everybody to go into STEM. And what's the value of foreign languages? Well, there is a lot of value. And your job, Adam's graphic is a great illustration of what you can do. So now I'll shut.
Yeah, I think I'd like to add to what you're saying, Karen. I think that's 100% true. STEM has it all over us. I mean, we need the same PR that STEM has. And so we're way far behind on that. But I think, you know, a big part of the problem has been, and the big problem with you know, getting to students when we can, because at the university level, you're almost too late already, right? So we need to get to them in high school. Community colleges and high schools are great places to sort of send this message, because they're looking for looking for ways to get jobs, practical applications. And that's the trouble that we see in the universities. A lot of the university programs that are shutting down is because, I mean, if you're sending your kid to college and you're going to sign up for all this debt, you have to pay for them to go to school. You want to make sure that they're going to have something coming out. STEM has it all over us, showing people what it's, you know, that there's practical applications for those skills. We have not done a good job. University programs at the moment are not doing a good job of showing students that there's a practical application of language. It's not a nice to have. It's not something to have to chat. You know, if you're going on vacation, there's real world applications to it. And so we need to make it a practical, you know, a practical study. So getting the universities to add training for interpreters and translators there, not just, you know, studying literature and learning the language, but learning what they can do with it practically, and also teaching these heritage language kids who are in the high schools that they can make money. They're doing this interpreting and translation for their communities and their parents on their own because they have to. It's part of what they do. They don't really see the value in it themselves. We need to show them that they can have a career in that. And so this is why these programs that Kathleen was mentioning, that Caitlin does, but and Giovanna in my company as well, have gone to high schools and are teaching these interpreting programs to show kids that they can do this. So we need to do more of that. And like I said, get those STEM PR people on our side, because they do a great job selling STEM. So we need to do the same thing.
Well, Steve, Kathleen, thank you for doing the Lord's work and advancing the industry and our pipeline. And thank you for sharing with us more about Bridge today. We just have a couple of other things that we want to go over, and I'll try to share my screen this time, and let's see what you actually see. It's always a crapshoot for me. Okay, so next we want to just quickly talk through some of the governance side of the ALC, right? So as you know, Allison started us off. She's our illustrious executive director, and she does a tremendous amount of work with her and her two support staff that she uses. But a lot of the work of the ALC also happens through volunteer work. A lot of the direction of which way we want to go, things like the wonderful Bridge program that Kathleen is leading. And new members can be committee members. So there's no requirement that you have been here for any number of years. In fact, we love getting fresh, brand new perspective into the governance of the association. So what you see on the screen is just a page on our website that lists out the current committees that we have. Kathleen is running the Bridge Committee, as you know. I think you probably have a pretty good idea of the Speakers Corps and the other type of work that Bridge is doing on that committee. Membership is, I don't know, the next best committee, we'll say, in the ALC, Kathleen, if that's okay. I want to take a quick moment
sure.
to introduce Rosalind Famous. Yeah. Rosalind Famous is somewhere in these squares. I can't see her now, but Rosalind is another member of the membership committee. What we work on is the general broad question of making sure that you get ROI for your buck. So it's kind of account management in a way, but also helping to lead membership drives, increasing our total number of members. We work on some of the programming historically, like webinars, networking events, the executive and residence program, which I hope everybody knows about and has taken a look at. Some of those programs are managed through our committee as well. We have I don't know why I'm jumping around, but if you go back to the very top, the Advocacy and Standards Committee is a very large committee working on a broad range of topics with a number of subcommittees, including language access, which is listed lower down, relationships with the deaf and hard of hearing community, which I get to be on, as does Joseph, who's in the crowd today, that really work on issues around, you know, where should the ALC direct its Oh, sorry, Karen. Oh, you were just waving at somebody. Okay, you're trying to get my attention.
I'm saying hi to Joseph.
Okay. Yeah, so the Advocacy and Standards Committee works on where should we apply our lobbying efforts, what is happening around the country that we need to attend to, that we need to rally members around, and what kind of laws are being proposed around around language advocacy. So for example, you might have seen communication recently from Bill Rivers, our lobbyist, around Obamacare Act 1557, revisions to mandating when interpreters are needed in medical settings, right? So things like that, that committee is all involved in. And then obviously we have our events, like the annual summit, the unconference, those have structures around it to help plan those. And lastly, the industry survey, which we just published this past month. There's a committee that supports what questions get asked, what's the direction, the theme for the year, and the managing of the company that we work with to actually do the surveying and crunching of the numbers. So these are areas of active work within the association. If any of these things interest you, that you want to be a fly on the wall, or you think you've got some good skills to apply to those efforts, please, you can email the president, you can email myself, and we'll point you into the right direction for having those discussions. So any questions about the active committees of the association? I don't see any. Okay. Lastly, and then we'll do, if there's time left, we'll just, oh, now I see Dottie's hand.
Thank you, Josh. So in case we do have questions, I'm speaking for people who are shy, myself included, that could we follow up with you and Karen later? If so, will you send us a note so we know how to just reply and express our interest in such and such committees?
Yeah, I will put my email in the chat. So you can always reach out to me. Happy to have conversation, get you pointed to the right direction. And Karen has put her email in the chat as well. So yeah, please do reach out. One-on-ones are great too. I'm always available to set up a separate time to meet with people about anything related to the ALC, any support you need. So please do reach out. And then last, see if I find the right page. Allison, do you want to talk about benefits that we receive with our sister organizations?
Absolutely. So there's quite a few partner organizations. The ALC works with quite a few, and we've got them listed here on our website. Anything from ALIA, EUATC, GALA, ATA. And not only do we work with each other on kind of common goals, whether it be advocating for things such as language access, but we also provide discounts to each other's activities. And so we often receive discount codes for upcoming events that these organizations have. We oftentimes put the events on our event calendar as well on the website. But if ever there's something coming up that you don't see, a code on our website on that event calendar, please just reach out to myself or Mariana. Mariana can be reached at office@alcus.org. And we're happy to reach out to the organization to see if we can receive a discount code.
Okay, any questions? Okay, fantastic. So we have 10 minutes left. I would love just an opportunity for some folks to meet each other. So you've got fellow new members that that you can keep in contact with as you go through the ALC journey. And so so people who are sharing their screen, why don't we start with Julia, because you've been brave and had your video on this whole time. Julia, do you mind introducing yourself, the company you're at, maybe where you're located, and briefly, in a sentence, what you're hoping to get out of your ALC membership would be good to know as well.
Okay, sure, I'd be happy to. Hi, everybody. My name is Julia, as Josh said. Karen recruited me a few months ago so that she would have company in the language training space. I went to the ALC conference in Montreal and have not looked back since. I am so happy to be a part of this association. My company is called Lark Languages. And as I just mentioned, we do language training, although we do not have a brick and mortar institute. Unlike Karen, we provide all language trainings online and at the client's workplace. So specializing in workplace language training, primarily English, Spanish, and French. And in the English camp, we get a ton of requests for accent enhancement. We've been working on the CDC for over a decade and helping them reduce incidence of error due to accent interference. I'm located in Atlanta, Georgia, about 20 minutes south of the Atlanta airport. And what I'm looking to get out of association with the association is essentially professional development. Lark Languages has been in existence since 2013. And so in terms of longevity, we're no longer a startup, but in terms of size, we are. So 2025 actually will mark the first year that I'll be able to give consistent full-time hours and be able to hire an executive leadership team. So transitioning, thank you, Karen, transitioning from startup mode to growth mode, and just eager to take advantage of any and all resources available, while at the same time enjoying really special friendships.
Welcome.
Welcome, yes.
Thank you so much.
Great. How about Floor?
Hi, everyone. Okay, well, I'm here very happy to join this association. It was our first time in Montreal this year. For me, it was the best event I've ever been. And it's great to see a lot of, faces that I really, enjoyed having met at the ALC. And well, I work today, it's my anniversary. I've been working for PROS for over 18 years now. And I've been, working in every single aspect of the site. And right now I'm in charge of, making the company grow. I'm here with Monica Oliveira here. She's there without the camera, but we are working together on making, she's replacing Mike Donling. Mike has left the company a couple of weeks after the ALC, so it was my farewell moment we had. And we are working here to make the company grow and help, every single interpreter, translator, and translation company in the world to make their life easier in some way or another. My job mainly consists of coaching interpreters to get calls from our partners. We are partners with Genie, with Buslingo, and we also have a great tool which is called Prospay that helps every freelancer around the globe and every translation company to pay those freelancers. Sometimes it's quite difficult to make them pay, and we could do that very easily, and we are great to help everyone. So yeah, I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
I'm sorry I didn't put my last name when I was just clicking to get the email, to get to the meeting, and I didn't write my last name. But anyway, I'm Monica Oliveira, and I'm with PROS now, and our mission is to help freelancers in the language industry to reach their goals, their business objectives. And my main job, my job and objective is to connect companies with professionals. So I think that this membership in partnership with ALC will help us do that. You need the professionals, and we want to bring opportunities to our members. There are freelancers, language professionals, and we have a very interesting discussion about the future of the industry and jobs, etc. That I think would ALC would be a great environment to help them understand where the industry is going. So I'm very excited to be part of this team now, and you can count that I'm being very active here.
Great, we look forward to that. We've just got a few minutes left, so I don't think we'll get through everybody. Are there any other folks who'd like to introduce themselves? Throw it open for volunteers because of the time.
Hey, Josh, I'll go real quick.
Sure.
Hi, everybody. I just really want to say that I'm a big fan of ALC. This is also our first year that we joined, and I'm the president and founder of CIS Interpreting Services. I had the opportunity to go to the Montreal event. I fell in love with the whole energy, the whole vibe. I also downloaded the survey. So when I came back, I had our entire leadership team, we made copies, and we are using the survey to help us for our growth strategy. And also, because I just love the whole, our team, myself and our director of interpretation, vendor manager, we are attending your next event in February. So it's amazing really excited for everything that you guys put together, because it really drives value, and I love it. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Awesome. So happy to hear that. Thank you.
And
One last person?
I just
Yeah,
want to
go ahead,
make a
Roz.
special hello to Jasmine. Because we met, it's a long story, but hi, Jasmine. Okay.
Hi,
bye.
Rosaline.
Any other quick intro? Amato, you look like you want to introduce yourself, but I might be misreading.
No. It's okay. I'll go. A little bit shy here, but I'll go. My name is Amala Veloz, and I own a company called Peregrine Interpreters. We mostly provide OPI and DRI for other LSPs. And I'm in the Dominican Republic. If I'm not mistaken, I think LingoVox and Peregrine are the only two companies in the association that are in the Caribbean. Rosalind can correct me on that if I'm wrong, but ever since the conference, which I did attend, it's been a month, I think, since the conference. I've done more networking in that month than I've done in the last 4 years. So just to give you guys an idea of how valuable being part of ALC is.
That's awesome.
My heart is full.
And Armando, could we have that as a testimonial for our website? That's the best.
Yes,
Thank
I can type that up and send it over.
Yes.
Awesome.
More
Thank you.
networking. Wonderful.
Well, we are so glad all of you are a part of the ALC, and we're able to spend an hour of your valuable time with us today. I hope it was useful to you. We're going to go ahead and wrap up because we'll end right on the dot. But thank you, Kathleen, Steve. Thank you to Allison, to our president, Garen Decker. Thank you, Rosalind, for joining us, and also to Kevin for interpreting. I'm punishing him at the end by saying as many names as I can rapidly, which sign language interpreters hate. So he'll get me back for it later. But thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your week, and happy Thursday.
Goodbye.
Thank you.